Hey y'all, welcome to your Tiny Week Ahead reading. I am T from Tiny Cheeks Tarot, coming in to break down your cards, giving you the energy of your week, some things that may happen, and some words of wisdom. So we have 3 piles. Go ahead and pick either the song, the charm, or the top card or cards that resonate for you. And let's get into your energy for this week. Okay, pile 1, welcome in to your week ahead reading. Your song for this week was Hit 'Em Up by Tupac. Okay, so we coming in real strong with the energy. Your charm for this week was the microphone. So, yeah. Then you have the truth card and we have the grounded card. So, coming in strong with just what you picked from, right? So the song, if you don't know the song Hit 'Em Up by Tupac, definitely pause this, go play that, or play it in the background while you're listening to your reading. Okay, the energy is very strong. The energy, he got a lot to say. He's not necessarily saying it in the most PC of ways. Like Tupac, that's a diss track. Like if you don't know, it's a diss track, and he's talking cash shit. Okay, and this week you have the microphone card, you have the truth card, you have this anchor. So this week is definitely about you popping your shit. The energy of this week is like very strong, very determined. You have things to say. People may not like the things that you have to say. You may not be as let's see. You definitely need to be direct with the things that you say. You definitely need to just sit with like what either is true for you, what is true in general, what they need to know, like whatever the the black and white of it is. You know what I mean? Like there's no more gray in terms of these cards and the charm that you got for this week. The other thing that I was getting, I had wrote down, it's time to not only just be heard this week, but it's time to project, right? You may be someone who says things and people, sorry y'all, there's a helicopter. Like I was saying, it's time to project, it's time to be heard, it's time to really sit in your truth and the things that you believe and the things that you feel like haven't been spoken and need to be spoken about. It's giving earth and air energy. So there's movement, but there's groundedness in the movement, meaning that like you're thinking about what you're saying before you say it. You're thinking about your movements before you take them. You're thinking about the things that people are saying. You're like allowing it all to sink in. That is what the earth energy kind of gives me. So yeah, the energy of your week seems like, it just seems not aggressive is not necessarily the right word. It is aggressive in a sense, but it seems yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a better word than aggressive. But then I don't feel like that's the right word. I feel like there's a better word for that, but like, let's keep going. We'll figure it out. Okay, so let's pull a few more cards to dig deeper into the energy of this week for you, and then we will move on to some things to expect for this week. Okay, so shift. Veiled. Okay. So shift. Like I said, there was definitely some movement this week. There was definitely some actionary energy. We had the air card. So you can definitely see some changes with either how you're moving this week or with where you are. Like there may be a change in location, even though you have the anchor card. Like it feels like you may be picking up anchor, you know what I mean? So either you may be traveling this week, you may be somebody who is moving from one place to another. I just got you may be moving offices, which is like randomly specific, but that may be a thing this week. We have the veiled card, so there may be, the truth card may have to do with actual secrets this week and things that may be revealed to you, things that you need to dig into, things that you may have had an inkling about that are going to pop up this week, okay? Also, we, when I'm recording this, are in a retrograde period. So whenever you're watching this, even if we aren't, because I'm saying this, just be mindful of it. Definitely be mindful of talking shit about people if you don't want them to know. Definitely be mindful of lying or saying things that are untrue, because it's going to come back to you. And like with the microphone energy, it's going to come back real loud. It's going to come back, everybody's going to know. You know what I mean? So like that's something to be mindful of this week. Then the last thing it looks like we got is the Divine Masculine card. So again, like I was saying before, be mindful of how you say things. If you want to cuss somebody out and that's the energy and your intention, then definitely do that, right? But if that's not necessarily the energy that you're trying to give, then be more deliberate with your words. Be more thoughtful before speaking to them, so that it doesn't just give confrontational energy, so that it doesn't lead to, you know, a more aggressive situation. You know what I mean? It's like, be diplomatic in a sense. But again, sit with your intention beforehand, because if your intention is to make them feel it, then that's what it is. And then it's okay to do that because that's your intention. You know what I mean? So like, the energy is, even like I said, aggro, and then we have this Divine Masculine card. The energy is definitely very strong. It's definitely very active. The energy of your week definitely requires you to have patience and to ground into yourself and to remember your intention and to not like let yourself get carried away with that air energy, especially in terms of communicating with others. And communicating is writing, it's speaking, you know, it's involuntary sometimes, you know, it's body language, it's like all of those things. So just, this is part of your energy for this week, so be mindful of that. So in order to get into some of the things you'll expect this week, I am using a tarot deck. This is the Astro Matrix Tarot. So let's pull some cards and see more specifically what are some of the things that might go on for you this week, that might happen, that may come up. Okay, let's see, anything else? Yep, whatever that was. Hold. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords, the King of Wands, the Six of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. So again with the office energy, being mindful of what you say to people, how you say it. Okay, we do not want to end up in HR this week or next week because of what we said this week. So be mindful. If somebody's talking to you crazy, again, figure out how you want to respond to them. We have the King of Wands up here. So even though he is the King of Fire in a sense, and he can be very actionary, he can move and make somebody feel it if he wants to, he's sitting and he's in a position of like, do I want to move or do I not want to move? So this week is about like, do I want to give energy to this thing or do I not want to give energy to this thing? What kind of energy am I giving? Am I giving diplomatic energy? Am I giving fire general energy? Is it like, you know, am I going to war with this person? Like, this is part of what we're thinking about this week, right? Also, again, with the movement, like a lot of the cards just double down on what we already said in terms of specific things that may happen this week. You may be traveling, you may be moving, you may have to move, right? You may be in a situation where something comes up where you get either like a notice or something that speaks to you having to move, and then you have the Ace of Swords card on top of that. So it's like, how do I, thinking about what you do in the situation. You have the Three of Pentacles on the side, so it may be like trying to make a plan on what to do next. It may be a situation where you want to move or leave a situation, but again, you're not exactly sure how to. So this week may be more about planning and really sitting with your thoughts and sussing shit out and getting to the truth of things, getting back into the energy of the week. than it is about the actual movement. Again, we have that King of Wands that's actually just sitting and waiting to move. So this week may be about you waiting to get some shit done or planning to get some shit done and not being able to actually act on it just yet, because this is movement, but the rest of these kind of are like, this is the beginning of, right? This is planning stage. The King of Wands is sitting and he's ready to hop up and do some shit, but he's still in a seated kind of comfortable, like, chill position. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. You may have a new project this week because we have this Ace of Swords. Specifically because we had the Truth card, you may have a new writing project, like something that you need to write, something that you want to start writing. The King of Wands looks a little disheveled to me. So it feels like, and over the Three of Pentacles, like it may be a hard week for work in terms of not just talking to people, but there may be a lot coming at you. You may not just want to go to work this week. You may be feeling really tired or just kind of run down or burnt out and you're just like kind of over it, you know, like that may also be part of the energy. If you're planning a trip as well and you're kind of not sure how you're going to have the funds or if you should do it or something like that, that energy comes up in this pile as well. So again, we need to get to the truth of the matter. We need to ground in. We may need to shift our plans because we have the shift card and the other energy. So like, this is part of what it seems like is coming up for you this week. We also have water in both of these cards. So you may be, and it's not necessarily beach energy, but the second card, the Six of Swords, is kind of beach energy. So you may be going on a boat this week. You may be getting in the water. You may be going to the river or to a stream. You may want to go to a river or a stream. All of the cards have like nice weather, so it feels like the weather is going to be nice for you this week wherever you are. So like, you may want to get outside, especially if you're in a situation where work is like taking you down, you know. So that seems like what is some of what will come up for you this week. Now let's get into your words of wisdom for this week. Okay, y'all, so I am using affirmators for your words of wisdom for this week. Let's move these a little bit over here. Okay, so we have strength. You are hereby declared a strong, resilient warrior of heroic proportions. Enjoy your battles, whatever they are, because you're guaranteed to come through them stronger, brighter, and more compassionate. And based on what I know about mythology, probably with great hair and a six-pack. Then you have inspiration. There's a voice of inspiration within me. Right now, it's only a whisper, but the more I listen, the louder it gets. Soon, it will be a flawless speech, voiced by James Earl Jones through a megaphone with lots of applause. And again, we have like the microphone energy coming back in with that little tiny James Earl Jones in the card. So these are your words of wisdom for this week. I think they make a lot of sense in terms of the energy that we're giving, right? We have the strength card, so you have being resilient, you have the different kinds of strength that you can have because we're deciding our intention within what we're doing. You have the inspiration card, which speaks about you utilizing your voice, not only the voice within you, but, you know, having this voice come out of you like we talked about within the energy of the week card. So the words of wisdom to me just tie in everything that we kind of just talked about. This is the energy of your week. These are some of the things that will happen. These are your words of wisdom. Let me know what you think. Let me know how this resonates for you throughout the week. Come back and listen to it, get some validation. Let me know. And I will see y'all next week or in the next pile. Welcome in pile 2 to your week ahead reading. We are going to get into your cards. We're going to get into the energy of your week. We're going to get into some things that you may expect this week. And we'll get into some words of wisdom. So the cards that you chose is the Trust card, The charm you chose is the handcuff. Cute little handcuffs. Handcuffs can be cute. And the song you chose is Are You Dumb by Amanda Reefer. So, based on your charms and your song, also, again, if you haven't heard the song before, definitely pause, go listen to the song, listen to it in the background of your reading, whatever you choose. So, based on your charms, your song, and your cards, it feels like this week is about feeling free, not feeling necessarily attached to too much, not feeling bound or like you can't do anything, you not restricted, you know what I mean? Like, part of what she says in the song is like, there's my whole face, pussy power through the doorway. Like, she's just like busting through, you know what I mean? Like, very much herself through the whole song, very much talking her shit through the whole song. And there's this energy within your cards of like wanting to be free, you know what I mean? Like, and the handcuffs just gave me this feeling of like not wanting to be confined, not wanting to be held back. And so there may be energy this week where you may feel like you're being held back, and or there may have been things that already have been making you feel like you've been held back, where you're just ready to like release that shit, you know what I mean? The full moon kind of shines a light on things. The full moon is about completions. It's also about like harvesting. In a sense, it can also be about releasing and cutting things. So it may be shining a light on ways in which you feel like you are being held, or shining a light on things that you feel like are restricting you. Within the trust card, it feels like part of the freedom to be yourself has to be to trust what you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, to hold hands with the unknown, as opposed to feel constricted by it, or feel like you're kind of like, it's almost like being handcuffed to change is what it made me feel like, you know. You're in a space where you want to be free, and so trusting that the energies are pushing you in that direction, the things that are happening are helping you to let go and to move into the place of being more yourself, more free, more available, and more light. There's ways in which I feels like things may be heavy, or things may hold you down, and that may come up this week. And it's just showing you, if it does come up, if certain things are it feels like my brain just said access, if certain things are accessed for you this week in a way that you don't normally access them, full moon vibes, then sit with that, you know what I mean? And like, let it come up so that you can maybe let it go, okay? Or so that you can see what aspects of it you're supposed to lean into or trust more, so that it can get you to the next place, kind of energy. So yeah, that's a little bit of how the energy of your week feels. It feels enlightening, but in a different way than the first group. It feels more so about you than it does outside of you. It feels more so about letting go and letting loose and being your fullest self. Yeah, and there's a lightness that comes in this week. So let's pull some more cards and see a little bit more about the energy of your week. Okay, so we have Divine Feminine, which is interesting because in the pile one we had Divine Masculine. So there's a softer, more focused energy to this week, I'd say, than pile one. You have the Moon with the Divine Feminine, which is the Mother, Maiden, Crone. So there's mother energy. There may be more feminine aspects of this week than other piles. So in terms of dealing with more feminine energy this week, or people that possess feminine energy, your week may involve more emotions because you have the Moon in two aspects of your card. You may be more sensitive this week, so that's something to be mindful of. You may want to look into the moon phases this week. I know that when I'm recording this, there's a new moon at the end of this week. So you may want to look at where that moon is hitting your chart, or what sign it's in and how it may affect you, or just pay attention to how it is affecting you. We have the lucky card and the earth card. I like that. So it feels like outside of the earth card with the lucky card, it feels like outside of what you may be feeling inside. It may be an easy week for you. It may be a good week for you. Things may come in. You may have like tangible gifts, or you may receive money, or you may like, you know, you could hit the lotto or something like that this week. So if you're watching this, definitely play, because it's like giving like money could come in, or like grounding into luck. You know what I mean? Yeah. Things may just come easily to you this week. Yeah, it feels like that's part of the energy for your week. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, so you have the Truth card as your last card. We got the Truth card and pile one. And like I was saying before, it feels like this truth in terms of the energy of your week has to do with things coming up really about you, around aspects of your life, things that are personal to you that would come up with these emotions, or that would come up around trust. So that kind of feels like the energy of that. So let's get into more specifically some things to expect this week. Okay, so let's get into some things to expect this week. I'm using the Astro Matrix Tarot to get a little bit more specific. Okay, so the Seven of Cups. So again, I feel like it's like that tangible energy of being able to call things in, like we have with that Luck card and the Earth card. You may have some options of things this week. You may be like looking or shopping this week. Okay, Strength card, Five of Wands, Chariot card. Okay, and then you have the Ten of Swords on the bottom. So some things that may come up this week. Like I said, it feels like there may be a little bit of shopping. Some people may be going shopping. Some people may have some things that they're looking into, like research you're doing on something that you want to purchase, or something that you want to do. Definitely something that you might want to do, because we have the Chariot card under that. It may also be something that's like a big purchase, so you may be looking into like purchasing a car, looking at a house, looking into moving, something like that. That may be like something you're looking into this week. We have the Five of Wands card and the Chariot, so it feels like that, I don't know, is randomly giving me like you may be going to a sporting event, like a game, something where people like are against each other, or like UFC or something like that. You also may have situations this week where you have people with differing opinions, or you have a difference in terms of your conversation with somebody. Especially, it feels like friends, siblings, anybody that's like adjacent, not necessarily your partner, but like somebody you're in community with. You may have issues with, disagreements. Y'all may have differing opinions on what to do about something. In terms of that, with the Strength card above that, it's feeling like be emotionally receptive. We had all those emotional cards that we were like dealing with in the first set in terms of your energy. So be emotionally receptive to not only how you're feeling, but like how they're feeling as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where if you can empathize or think about what may be going through their mind in terms of how they came to their decision, or their deduction, or whatever's going on outside of the situation that may be lending into their energy or their attitude, like that's part of what needs to go into how you move and how you decide to move in a situation, right? We may also have situations where it's just you need to kind of leave because you finally understand that you're just not in a place of understanding with these people, or you're not in agreement, or what they want to do is different than what you want to do. So it may be a situation where you're just kind of over it, you know. That may be something that comes up this week. But again, it feels like not necessarily work related. It feels like extracurricular, or like it may be like familial, or more so within your friend group. And again, the Ten of Swords may be like you don't want to do this thing, or it may be that you just like need a break, you know, like you need to transition in that way where you're just like, I'm not even doing this committee thing anymore right now. I need to take a break from this, and I'll come back in like 2 weeks and see where y'all are at, and I'll jump in kind of energy, you know. The Ten of Swords also feels like there's people that, like I said, may be dealing with burnout, and especially if you're dealing with all of the emotions, the emotional energy that we have in this pile over here, you may need to just like take a break. You may need to step away. You may need to just recuperate kind of energy, so that you can like be ready for either next week, or you can be ready for the next part of your week, or that you can move into the next space just like feeling more renewed, you know. Yeah, it feels like there are people with the vultures. It feels like there are people that are like picking from dregs of your own energy. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to chug along, and you really don't have the energy to give to it. So you have to stop, and you have to rest, and you have to, you know, come back to yourself, which we talked about over here, so that you can move forward. Okay? My cord just dropped. So yeah, recharge. Anyway. Let's get into your words of wisdom for this week. Okay, so I'm using the affirmator cards for your words of wisdom. Okay, nature. It is time to unleash your inner hippie and step outside of the man-made box. Take a walk in the woods, smell the flowers, hug the trees. You might think you're being ironic, like, look at me, I'm being a tree hugger and stuff, but you'll find that even then, those trees will hug you back. Trees come from a time before irony, before earnestness. It's impervious to our jaded humor. If that doesn't make you want to hug them even more, well, I guess you're a robot. You also have had all of these cards outside, which I didn't even realize, but like all of these cards are, everybody in this card is outside, so definitely hug some trees. Get into your hippie nature. If you're not a hippie, try. Fake it till you make it. You have trust, which, yeah, you do. Yeah, you have trust. Yeah, okay. Trust. I trust that everything will be okay in the end. Partially because I simply know it in my gut, but also because it's way more fun to live with trust and confidence than to be a defensive wiener. It's true. And then the last card you have is worthiness. I am worthy of the ultimate happiness. I deserve and accept it. And damn it, I'm not going to feel guilty about it when I get it. Okay, let's sit with that. That's part of what we may need to sit with that comes up. Okay. Guilt is not invited to my happiness party. I won't even tell him where it is. If he asks about it, I'll be like, no, I think you're thinking of something else, and then I'll run away very quickly. So, these are your words of wisdom for this week. Nature, trust, worthiness. I think they're perfect. Again, perfectly sum up all the things that we talked about for this week. I think they give you some things to sit with in terms of like what we may not trust, what may be shining a light, what may be shown. Jeez, I can't even talk today. What may be shown to us this week in terms of the full moon and that truth card. What could even be brought up in terms of like the luck and the earth card if we do receive, and it brings up feelings that we need to sit with. You know what I mean? So yeah, all of these make a lot of sense to me. Get outside. Know that you can have the light and the fullness that you want, and sit with the emotions that come up. Allow yourself to move through them. Don't allow them to work on you, like work through them. Okay, so this is your reading for the week ahead, pile 2. Let me know how everything makes sense. Comment. Come back in the middle of the week if you need some validation, or the end of the week to get some validation. And I will see you next week or in the next pile. All right, pile 3, welcome into your reading. Let's break down the energy of your week, what to expect, and some words of wisdom for the week. So you chose the $100 bill charm. We have the release card, and Chill Baby by SZA was your song. So getting into your cards, you have the release card as well as the focus card. That with the $100 bill and the song that you chose, it feels like the energy of your week is about cleaning shit up, getting rid of clutter, letting shit go, knowing what to let go, let down, so that you can have more, get to more abundance, get to fulfillment kind of energy. It feels like with the release and the focus, it definitely, and the song specifically, it feels like there's shit that needs to be let go of, people that need to be released. And like this week is about really seeing that and like cutting that out, and not just people, but like thoughts, habits. Like there are things that you need to focus on cutting out and letting go so that you can have more, because it's like similar to the walls that she talks about in the lyrics. One of the things she says is, I've been in and out of town trying to get out of survival mode. I'm tired of building walls, right? And so like part of the release has to do with like releasing the things that have kept you contained, similar to what we talked about in pile 2. You may want to watch pile 2, because part of what we talked about is people wanting to be free. It feels like there are either like habits or thoughts or people that are keeping you from your bag, that are keeping you from abundance. It's keeping you from having more. It's keeping you small and contained and ultimately unhappy, you know? And this week, it feels like there are things that will come up that kind of like reinforce that energy for you, in terms of like, see, you gotta let this go. Like, see, you need to cut this shit out, you know? It like, that kind of feels like the energy. So let's pull a few more cards and see a little bit more about the energy of this week. Oh, and if you haven't heard Chill Baby by SZA, definitely stop and go listen to the song, or you can listen to it as you listen to your reading, whatever feels comfortable for you. I can't even shuffle. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have gratitude, we have the new moon card, we have the soulmate card, and let me put these there, and the jealousy card. So again, energy wise, part of what we were talking about in terms of building walls and like feeling like you're being contained or you have to stay in survival mode, part of it feels like perspective with the gratitude card. So part of the energy of this week is about, again, like recognizing what needs to go and what is beneficial to you, what you haven't been recognizing, what you haven't been sitting in, what you haven't acknowledged. Okay. The new moon card comes in, and new moons are a time where you can sow seeds and plant things for your dreams, but it's also a time of shadow and darkness, you know what I mean? And I feel like with the new moon card close to the focus card, again, this week is bringing up things for you that are showing you what needs to be cut away for you to plant these seeds to have more, you know what I mean? It feels like the energy is, it's showing you your own gray. It's like showing you, it's putting a light on the places of your darkness, in a sense, is like what these two cards gives me. Um, you also have this energy with the soulmate card. Um, and so if part of what you need to release is things that keep you from having better relationships, things that keep you from love, things that make you think that you don't want love, things that keep you from loving yourself, then this is part of what we need to release and realign with self-love or realign with love and partnership. It may be a specific situation that needs to be released, so that you can realign with the best parts of yourself. That could be part of some of this energy. You have the jealousy card and the shadow, so it feels like there are ways in which you may, like, it's this like keep up with the Joneses energy, or this energy of like you seeing some other people having things that you don't have, and that may be part of what has you defensive about life, or has you defensive about a certain situation or towards certain people, you know. And it really is about focusing on yourself and focusing on like the things that you need to cut out, not what other people have. If you cut out the shit that you need to cut out, if you release the things that you need to release that are holding you back, then you can have, it has nothing to do with what anybody else has. And part of what's keeping you from having it is being too focused on them and not focused enough on you and like what you need to change. You know what I mean? Because if shit is not working, then there's shit that's not working that needs to go. It's not just because the universe just wants things not to work for you, you know? So that feels like part of the energy of this week. So let's get into your cards and see more specifically what are some things that may come up. Okay. So using the Astro Matrix Tarot, let's pull some cards and see what are some things to expect this week. Okay, so specifically some of the things to expect this week. It feels like some of the things that we may have to go through in terms of what needs to be cut away or released may be hard for you to deal with or let go of, or to actually recognize. And it doesn't even feel like, I shouldn't say that. It feels like you recognize it, but it may be hard for you to actually put it into action, right? It may be hard for you to stop watching as much TV, or to stop, you know, checking on this person's page, or like, you know, like cyber stalking them. Or it may be hard for you to stop the, like, whatever the something like that you're like really addicted to, you know what I mean? It may be hard for you to like release these things. It may be hard for you to really like sit with the fact that it means that there are real aspects in some people's lives that are going to change, you know what I mean, that are going to look different. And it's time to really just recognize and sit with it in a way that doesn't feel so final or so like terrible to you, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's part of it. We had this jealousy card over here, and then we have the Seven of Swords. So like, watch people's motivations, people's actions, pay attention to how they're moving. Don't leave stuff around people for them to like pick up and walk away with. Don't give your ideas to people. Don't like say shit around people, even if you think it's okay to say it around them. Don't like leave certain paperwork around certain people. Like, it's strange. Like, that, just pay attention to that, you know what I mean? Also, lock your doors. Like, you know, this is giving like break and entering energy. So like, lock your doors, lock your car door, things like that. We have this world energy, which it just feels very good. Specifically, you may be out in the world more this week, and not just like in nature, but it feels like socially you may be out more. You may have an event or like a conference or something like that to go to. And it may be something like at a museum. I don't know why that just made me think that. Like, it may be something at a museum. You may be going to a museum or like some kind of arboretum or something like that this week. Um, yeah. There are also maybe people going to concerts. I don't know why I got that from the card, but there are also maybe people going to concerts this week, and just like getting outside, being seen. And that may be part of what you need to do if it's not something you were thinking about doing. If, especially if you are having to like move through letting things go. It doesn't have to just be a hard week or like trudging through. You know, you can add in some like joy and things that are kind of taking you outside of your normal peer view, or things that take you outside of your head, especially if you were in a space where you had to like let go of certain things and it's like really hard for you to have done that. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know why these two things are just giving, and this specifically, like these three things, follow rules. Like, don't do anything that is super illegal this week. I don't like, I don't know where this is coming from. Or like, try to bend the rules in a way if you are in a situation where you have to follow certain rules, or like be accountable to other people. Just be mindful of that. Okay. Let's get into your words of wisdom for this week. Okay. Good things to come. There are so many amazing gifts coming my way. I can't see them now because I respect the general convention of not peeking under wrapping paper. But they will show up when the time is just right. And that's when I'll remember how much fun it is to be surprised. Okay? Yes. We release, we sit in gratitude, we focus on the things that need to go, we get better. Okay? That's definitely what that says to me. That's a reminder for you for this week. Okay? Next card, joy. To enjoy something, I simply need to add joy to it. Joy is like butter. I can put it on anything and it'll make it way better. Today, I will add joy to everything. Really slather it on. Today, I'm Orville Redenbacher. I'm the Orville Redenbacher of joy, excuse me. And life's popcorn is about to get it. Okay, I love that. I love that. Again, there's release, there's grief, there's moving through things, and then there's the joy that comes from lightness, there's the happiness that comes from knowing the better is coming, which is why you need to release these things, and this is again a reminder of that. And then our last card, story of my life. As I tell myself the story of what's happening in my life, I choose to make it the kind of story where even the tough parts have a sort of inner beauty, that gratitude, right? It's ultimately a happy story where every character, no matter how wicked, is doing their best. And let me tell you, it'll be worth it when I earn that Pulitzer Prize for the best inner monologues. So again, story of your life, right? Coming in and speaking of like making the story not being jaded in what was, but making it what you want, sitting in what you want, sitting in the best parts of it, sitting in the things that helped you grow to where you are, as opposed to feeling encumbered by it, you know? Like, that's really what I feel like this card is talking about, and how these cards kind of sum up all of the cards you got for this week. So let me know what you think. Let me know how it resonates for you this week. Come back midweek, end of week, get validation. If you'd like to, definitely book with me. I would love to read with y'all. And I will see you next week for our next week ahead reading, or whatever readings you watch in between. Thank you so much for reading with me.